Om Namah Shivaya. Hello my friends all over the world. I'm Srisubroto, your host, a scholar and a lover of Indian spirituality. I welcome you all in this series of talks on Indian spirituality, last resort for humanity. This time we'll talk on a single question, though it has got various ramifications. The question is why we do not change. I know the same question prevails in you all, particularly those who are serious persons. Why we do not change. With this question, we'll also talk on what is transformation. Actually, why we do not change. The word by change, I mean, why do not we radically change? Why do not we transform? That's the basic query. So, in the midst of all, we'll talk over it and we will try to find out the real meaning of transformation in Indian spirituality. The real meaning of Amul Parivartan in Bharatiya Adhyatma. So it's a basic question which everybody is searching for. Let me start with a story. A very famous spiritual teacher once asked his associates, those associates were living with him for say 50 years or so. He one day asked, why don't you change? Why you do not change? You were with me for so many years. This is a basic tragedy that even we are having all this information, all these datas, books, meditation techniques, different changing theories, articles, but we do not change. That's a tragedy which human beings are continuously facing. And this particularly question is haunting me, though I want to be very much apolitical in my discourse. Just after the return of Taliban rule in Afghanistan, because that medieval kind of rule again returned to Afghanistan, people do not change for the last 20 years or so. Why? This is a human question. This is a psychological question. This is an existential question. But you can ask me one question at the same time. The changes that has been taken place for all these years, that we changed from monarchy to feudalism, to capitalism, to communism, socialism, again capitalism. These changes are remarkable. They have done enormous change, enormous change in behavioral pattern, in various connections and communications, in agreements and so on and so forth. They are indeed changes. But to put you very straight, they are, from the standpoint of spirituality, just cosmetic changes. Because they are changes we are having in the same consciousness level. So long we are in the same level of consciousness, so long we are ruled by thought, ideas, theories, and particularly by I, particularly by me and mine, these changes cannot last long. They will come and go. There is no permanency in this kind of change. And interestingly, history repeats itself. History will repeat itself so long we are living in the same consciousness level. Now where is the respite? Where is the way of saving us? Where is the way towards transformation of human beings? This question obviously comes to you all. And interestingly, the same question bothers Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna asked Sri Krishna the same question. Let me quote it. He asked, Sthita pragyasya ka bhasha, samadhistashva keshava, sthitadi king prabhashit, kimashit brajit kim. Hey Krishna, you were talking about Sthita pragya. You were talking about a man, a person who is settled in intelligence, who works from intelligence, lives on intelligence, do everything from the standpoint of intelligence. You were talking about it. But just tell me, describe me what it is. What is this Sthita pragya? Tell me how he works, how he sees, how he moves. Sthita pragyasya ka bhasha, samadhistashva keshava, sthitadi king prabhashit. In what way he speaks? Kimashit. In what way he sees? Brajit kim. In what way he moves? Because you are preaching for Sthita pragya. You are preaching for a man or a person who is settled in intelligence. Now just tell me, just describe me, what are the characteristics of a Sthita pragya? Because we are all searching for these characteristics. We know that there is a transformation. Transformation may take place. Spiritual persons are always towards it. A radical transformation. A transformation towards advancement. And so on and so forth. Now what Arjuna asked Sri Krishna, just describe me the characteristics. And Sri Krishna described a few characteristics. From sloka, it started from sloka 55 to 61, telling the characteristics. But I will just mention one or two, just to give you an interest into the whole matter. Sri Krishna said, Prajahati jada kaman sharban partha manugatan. I repeat, Prajahati, who can sacrifice everything. Jada kaman, every desire. Prajahati jada kaman sharban partha manugatan. Everything that comes from mind, everything that comes from I and we, I and me, everything comes from self-interest. Everything comes from intellect, theory, ideas, and all that. The man who can sacrifice all these things, Prajahati jada kaman sharban partha manugatan, Atmani atmana tushta, who is self-satisfied, Sthita pragya taduchvate, who is self-satisfied, can be called a man settled in intelligence. He is Sthita pragya. And then again he said, fantastically, Dukkeshu anudvignamana. You understand, it's very easy. Dukkeshu anudvignamana, Shukeshu bigata spriya, Beat raga vaya krodha, Sthita dina muniruchvate. Dukkeshu Anudibhignamana, who is not disturbed by sorrows. Dukkeshu Anudibhignamana, Shukeshu Bigataspe, doesn't concern about pleasure, Bitrag, and far from passion, fear, anger. That man is called Sthita Prajna. Bitrag Vaya Krodha, Sthita Deed, Muniruchvate. In this way, he described the characteristics of Sthita Prajna. It's not a simple. It's not simply an idea. It's a reality that there are certain persons live in this way. And the whole Bhagavad Gita is a book of transformation. A man completely paralyzed psychologically. I mean Arjuna. And it was beautifully described in the Gita. Shidanti mamushas gatrani mukhancha parishushvate. Arjun is describing his situation at that moment when he saw his relative standing opposite to him, and he has to fight against kill those relatives who are so close, so lovely to him. And so he said, Krishna, Shidanti Gatrani, my body is, my limbs are moving, trembling. Mukhancha parishushvate. My mouth becomes dry. This is the situation. I'm paralyzed completely. How can I fight? Shidanti mamagatrani mukhancha parishushvate. Now, Sri Krishna transformed this man by means of words, by means of, say, its mantras, by means of different motivations, by means of different ways of motivation, giving the whole range of yoga, different kinds of yoga, and finally made this man Arjuna prepared for the war. His ultimate truth is that, the ultimate principle or ultimate lesson is that if you are a Sthita Prajna, then you have to fight for justice, fight for truth, fight for dharma. This is wonderful. This is a wonderful teaching. Fight for truth, fight for justice, fight for dharma. If you are a Sthita Prajna, he transformed Arjuna to a Sthita Prajna and finally made him to fight for truth, Satya, Nyaya, Dharma, for truth, for justice, for dharma. This is transformation. A man living in the level of a consciousness which is talking about me and mine, me and my relatives. What will be the consequences? Very normal, our way of living, our standard of living. And Sri Krishna made him to feel, look, you are mere an instrument of mine. Be a Sthita Prajna and fight for those which are indispensable to keep this whole existence going. This is transformation, and spirituality supports it. All spiritual leaders, particularly in India, from the great Sri Krishna to Sri Ramakrishna to Sri Aruvinda to Jai Krishnamurti and the present day Sadguru, all are talking about this kind of transformation to a higher level of existence, higher consciousness. And other changes that we are having now are forced changes. They change your style of living sometimes. They change your communication, relatives, interconnections. But they are not radical changes. They are cosmetic changes, all moving around that I, that me. And that's why we are moving in a cycle and not horizontal. That's the basic difference. Because this question, when I started it, why we do not change? This is a question to me also. Because I have got all data, books and all that. But even then there is no change taking place within me. Why? There is another very important thing. Very, very important. There are three elements which are very important in regard to transformation. First, mumukshatva. You must have an urge, a deeper urge, a tremendous urge to change yourself, to transform yourself. This pattern of life, this style of living. And second, there should be a practical part of it. Meditation or yoga. There may be different kinds of yoga, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga and all that, in the Bhagavad Gita. So there is a practical aspect, physical aspect of it, I must say. Meditation, yoga. And finally, this is not at your hand. And finally, this is very, very important, inexplicable element. Kripa, grace of the Supreme Being, grace of the Lord, grace of the nature. In whatever way you explain it, grace is very important. Kripa is very important. This is called luck. This is called an X element. This is called an inexplicable, a mysterious element. After all, human beings are mysterious too. The life itself is a mystery in very many ways, and you all know this very well. So this third element, kripa, grace, is a mysterious element, inexplicable. It may come to you, it may not. But you have done your own work, what is given to you. Karman adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You have the right to do your own work. The result will be given by some other person, some other way. That's different. The result part is not, the authority of result part is not given to you. That authority is given to some other person, some other people. So these three things. First, what I said, mumukshatva. Second, yoga, pranayam, meditation. And thirdly, kripa. These three elements are very, very important. So my friends, it's nice talking with you about transformation. Because this question is not only of mine, this question reverberates in every serious human being who wants to change but not getting change. So the final seed I want to give to you, within you, the final seed is that use your mind, but don't use to be the mind. This is very important. Use your mind, but don't use to be the mind, because you are more than mind. You are Shat Chit Ananda. You are the truth, consciousness, bliss. This is your nature. This is spirituality. This is Indian spirituality. And In the next course of time, in these courses, we'll talk how we try to understand this, that each and every individual is basically Sat Chit Ananda. How to discover it? Of course, we'll try to discover theoretically as far as possible. And by means of this theoretical discussion, by means of these theoretical talks, perhaps suddenly this argument comes to me also, and to you too. Hope we can enjoy the time very well. Again, thank you very much for giving me time. Hare Krishna.